It is Sunday, the 7th of June, and WA, this is your forecast for the week ahead. The main headline is that this Sunday you have a cold front moving through the southwest that comes across into the central south parts of WA on Monday, and it starts to clear up late Tuesday into Wednesday. We do have some cold conditions coming for the south with some potential frost risk, and then we also have some wind risk conditions for the southern coast because of this cold front as well. And then the top line for the north, it's dry and sunny again, which, we're in the dry season. That's what we'd expect. So let's have a look. Okay, looking at Sunday, you can see the marine wind warning currently for the southwest, and in Monday, it extends as that cold front moves through. Let's actually have a look into the forecast now, and I suppose let's start with wind, hey, because that's going to show us a little bit more of an indication of this cold front. So, wind gusts on Sunday. You can see it's just coming off the coast on this Sunday with those stronger winds there. As we move into Monday, it starts to sweep into the interior of the state. So, Monday, late afternoon, we're seeing around the central regions 40 to 63 km/h wind gusts, and then moderate winds throughout the rest of most of the state. Light winds up the top still doesn't quite penetrate that far in. Those winds sort of continue and they move through the southern coast on Tuesday and a little bit of Monday as well into maybe early Wednesday has strong to moderate winds, but that's just in the southern coastal regions there. Wednesday, this is when the winds die down, and that's what brings our frost and fog risk to the southern part of the state as that high pressure system moves through and replaces that front. This means that we have calm wind conditions for most of the rest of the week. Gets a little bit stronger on Thursday and Friday again, but not strong winds, just not dead winds like we're seeing at the start. And then into Saturday, another high pressure comes through and settles into the center of the state, bringing low winds. So that's our wind. Windy as that front moves through, calms down, and that brings some fog and frost risk. Let's talk about rain now. You all had a big rain system through last week. We have another cutoff low in front bringing rain, nothing like what we saw before. It's more showers, light rain to moderate rain. So let's have a look at that. So we can see on Monday, as that front sort of moves past, we get past post-frontal clouds sort of coming in, maximum of 50 millimeters locally. I think that's rather unlikely, sort of around the Perth region again. So it's, similar rainfall patterns to before. But then it really is just showers, 2 to 5 millimeters, 0 to 1 millimeters on the Wednesday. Thursday, nothing. Friday, more showers, but this time it's a little bit further up into the coast, around Geraldton, Kalbarri area. Could get a little bit more rain, 15 to 25 millimeters possibly on the Friday. Saturday, probably just light showers again, and Sunday, unlikely to see rain unless you're in the very, very southern coastal parts of the area. I do want to just quickly show you air temperature as well, because we have that nice cool air mass moving through behind the front. And that's really going to drop especially minimum temperatures, which we will have a look into. So this is looking at daily maximum temperatures, I believe. No, it's not. This is looking at hourly temperatures. Fantastic. So we can see overnight minimums of Monday in the 5 to 10 degrees. This is not what I want to look into. I want us to move ahead. Lovely. You can see that front moving through into Wednesday. And you see this nice cold pool of air, 0 to 5 degrees, reaching up until Kalgoorlie. This is the frost risk that we're talking about on Wednesday morning. We even see, if it wants to play ball with me, there we go. We even see some areas in the negatives. Okay. Those areas are just to the east of the Kalgoorlie region. It warms up again as the week moves through, and those overnight minimum temperatures are because that high is there. There's not going to be lots of cloud at nighttime, so there's just going to be a lot of radiation escaping, and that's why we're going to get really cold overnight minimum temperatures there. All right, so that's sort of the gist. Let's have a look from top to bottom using our Jane Weather Pro. We are looking at Halls Creek. That is my northern town of choice this week. We can see tops in the high 20s, low 30s through the full week. Lowest temperature is on Tuesday at 7 degrees overnight. Otherwise, they're in the mid teens for the rest of the week as we go further along. There are some better spraying conditions later in the week for the northern areas. So Friday, Saturday, and Sunday have bigger spraying windows. Whereas in Wednesday and Tuesday, like we get some not so great spraying conditions. So yeah, just something to have a look into if you are considering any pesticide or herbicide spraying this week. Let's go now into Geraldton for our sort of central coastal region. You can see now what we're looking at in terms of the rain that it will deliver up to Geraldton. So this first front moving through potential 10 millimeters on Monday. But as we said, there's more rain later on in that central region in the week. So Thursday, 14 mils and Friday, 5 millimeters. Let's just have a very quick look. We'll go to Thursday in Geraldton on our pro version to look at the confidence that we have in that rainfall forecast on the Thursday. So I think it's just quite relatively moderate to strong consensus that it's just sort of a constant drizzly shower, anywhere between 0 and 1 mils every hour for maybe a 30-hour period. And that totals anywhere between 4 and 19 millimeters, depending on where those showers fall. Let's have a look at Kalgoorlie now, because there's some discrepancy in the rainfall that we'll see later in the week. So the front that moves through and comes into the interior of WA Monday, Tuesday, only delivers about a millimeter there. So nothing major, just light showers. But on Thursday and Friday, we could see anywhere between 0 to 12 mils and 0 to 6 mils. That's a fairly decent discrepancy in the model. If we have a look now at our Jane Pro version, we can see that the Canadian and the EU models are the main ones throwing out rainfall here, a little bit from the US, but the Australian model isn't predicting any rain in this site. What this is really telling me is that we've got confidence that the rain will develop on the west coast, in that central west coast region. We can't call yet what that rain will look like or where it will fall in the interior of the state. So it's something that I'd pay attention to as the forecast develop throughout the week. Let's finish off our discussion today chatting about the MJO, our tropical weather oscillator. This model was kicked up in the start of June, June 3rd here in the red, and we can see that we are in the dry phases of the MJO pretty much through to the start of July. So we can expect a still, calm, sunny, dry June up in the North Tropical areas. That's our chat for WA this week, and I look forward to seeing you next week.